coming out this summer, Kyrie Irving.
But you left
You
out
got
Steph
3 of
Curry.
4.
Oh, Steph Curry.
I know. You were close. The Westbrook got you.
I shouldn't have had Russ.
The Westbrook gotcha.
I had guessed Steph, LeBron, Russ, and KD. So the one that I missed out was on.
What about
Kyrie.
Damian
Right,
Lillard?
good
He's
stuff.
got cool shoes.
Those shoes. It seems to be. Listen, I don't know everything, but I feel like there's a lot of money in there.
It seems like the way to go.
Okay.
That and perfume.
Let's get back on the floor here. We got a bunch of basketball topics to get to with you before we get to the football here. And let's start with Steph, who's expected to make his postseason debut tonight. Warriors-Pelicans Game 2 is now officially probable. Steve Kerr says there's no minutes restrictions. So, Jalen, what's a reasonable expectation from Steph Curry?
I don't think he plays over 24 minutes. That's half of the game. And when you ease him in, you do just that. He's not going to necessarily be the primary ball handler, but he's going to be in a lot of actions, a lot of scissor actions where they throw it to the elbow and cut off Draymond Green with he and Clay. A lot of actions where he's on the baseline coming off single doubles. A lot of pick and roll action where he gets doubled and throws it back to Draymond Green and allows him to make a play. But I don't see him, since he's not the ball-dominant type of point guard like a Russell Westbrook or a John Wall, his usage won't need to be that high for him to have a big-time effect.
Beetle, if Steph is Steph, do the Warriors go back to being unbeatable?
Unbeatable, I'm not sure. Yeah, look, there's not been a moment when I thought to myself, oh, this is really a scary moment for the Warriors. And I do think what we've learned about them over the last few years is there's a sort of quiet, passive aggression amongst them as a team. They like to have a chip on their shoulder, and they like to feel, I think, like the world's against them, as it has now become. And we haven't really spent as much time talking about them this season because we've been enamored with everything that Houston's been able to do. We've fallen in love with what Philadelphia's done as this young up-and-coming team. And I think they cherish that. And I think they're just looking forward to proving everyone wrong.
And how about this for the Warriors? They legitimately have 4 All-Stars. There isn't another team in the league that has 3.
That's insane.
So 2 of those guys have been MVPs under the age of 30, KD and Steph. That's never happened in the history of the league, to have 2 guys on the same team at this point of their careers. So when you throw in Clay, you throw in Draymond, this is really a juggernaut basketball team. And so now you add Steph back to this lineup. I agree with you, Greeny. They are a scary bunch and clearly the team to beat.
To me, they're way more than scary. They were the team that ruined the NBA last year, right? We were all talking about it's ruined the NBA. And this year, it was unruined because they had a variety of injuries. And to some degree, of malaise has to set in when you're that good for that long and is getting through the regular season. And injuries are the great equalizer in sports at all times. I'll stand by what I've been saying all along, and we all know I'm always wrong. But if they're all healthy, nobody takes more than 2 games off them. Cavs and Raptors tonight get underway. Cleveland has eliminated Toronto from the playoffs 2 years in a row, but it feels different this time around. We all saw LeBron have to put the entire thing on his back to get the Cavs through the first round. Jalen, can he carry the Cavaliers past this?
Yes!
Damn,
he can.
Really loud and sure.
And the one thing about LeBron James's greatness, it allows everyone else to find their games. They weren't able to do it in the first series. Now all of a sudden, players are going to look a lot better.
You believe that because in one game they woke up out of 7, that now they're fine?
Momentum carries, and the matchup, the lineup that Lou put into the game was the one that has been battle tested. That's exactly what they said for that reason. They won championship together. They've made a few finals appearances together. They played a lot of minutes together. They've reinvented their roster multiple times this year. But when things got desperate, they went to what they know. Tristan Thompson is going to remain in the starting lineup. Kyle Korver has been making shots the entire playoff. But I need to see an all-star level Kevin Love.
Yes, they were so good, the supporting cast in Game 7. They shot a combined 16 of 49, which is less than 33%. This series is a referendum on Toronto. Are the Raptors ever going to do this? Because if they're not going to beat LeBron now, they're never going to beat LeBron.
This is it.
It's time to start over again.
I agree. And this is what happens when you're in the league, when you face all-time greatness. People look back at you as a footnote. Because this is a great Toronto Raptors team. They've won a season high in games, the most in franchise history. They've never been a #1 seed. They get to host a LeBron James team that's not a super squad. If they can't beat them this year with the depth that they have, Beads, and the 2 All-Stars that they had multiple years, adding Ibaka, adding Valanciunas, It's not going to
Well,
happen like Greeny said.
This is their Achilles heel. This is their, and like we've been saying that all season. If a team in the Eastern Conference does not take advantage of the one time we've seen a LeBron James team, and not him, but his team be as weak as they are, then it would be a shame. Because I don't know when you get another shot like this. And for the Raptors specifically, he's the dude who sends you guys home every time. This is your chance to do something different.
I want one more story that I saw yesterday I thought was really interesting were these comments from Pat Riley about Hassan Whiteside. I'm not sure if everyone was following this or not, but Whiteside was extremely upset at the end of the series against Philadelphia. He barely played. We all know how much money he's making. Well, Pat Riley had some thoughts about where Whiteside was mentally and physically for that series against Philly. Give a listen.
By the time we got to the playoffs, I don't think he was ready. He wasn't ready. He wasn't in great shape. He wasn't, fully conditioned for playoff battle mentally, and he and we got our head handed to us.
May I say, oh snap! That's Pat Riley saying he just gave this guy all this money, and he wasn't ready physically and mentally to play in the playoffs.
I agree. And the one thing that's disappointing if you're a Heat fan is next season he takes up 20% of their salary cap.
20.
They don't have a lot of flexibility with him. When you sign him to that deal, you're looking around the league and you're like, he's going to be our Joel Embiid. That's what you say when you sign that contract. And so he was virtually non-existent. Not only his body language, but his attitude, his sense of purpose wasn't there. And they needed him to be productive, especially early in the series when Joel Embiid was not playing. If he could have gave them some quality minutes as Joel Embiid came back, it would have been a tougher series.
What could they trade him for? That's the other question.
That's a big number.
The guy had a $98 million contract. It was a 4-year deal. He has 2 years left on it. But you would get pennies on the dollar back for him in talent, right? If they decided, all right, we're going to move on from him, I'm not sure what they would get for him.
Yeah, there has not been alluring. I don't think any other team is looking at that, looking at him complaining about the way he was used, any of that. And now hearing Pat Riley say this and thinking, oh, well, we could fix him. I don't think that's what's happening.
And show you how things come full circle. This is kind of the lead domino that forced Dwayne Wade to find another city to play basketball in. When you sign him, you sign Tyler Johnson, you sign Gordon Hayward. All of a sudden, Dwayne Wade, like, what about paying me?
Right.
So that's what led to him ending up in Chicago, to Cleveland. Now he's back in Miami. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
It looks bad for everybody, right? It looks bad for the Heat for having signed him to the deal in the first place. It looks bad for Whiteside if he's being called out by one of the legends of the sport for not being mentally ready.
Mentally,
what is that? Those are some strong
Physically,
words.
what is that?
Thursday night on ESPN, a special time, 6 Eastern. We have Game 2.
Yes.
LeBron and the Cavs against the Raptors. Jalen and Beetle are going to have a very busy week.
Yes,
we just added a show, by the way. 5 to 6 countdown, ladies and gentlemen, on Thursday. You're going to want to be there.
Yeah.
We just added it. Yeah.
And like all of our games, this one is available on the ESPN app, so you can watch anywhere, anytime on